impact of this incident. We currently do not have reports of major impacts at this time.
Hi guys, welcome back to Xcom 2 modded core collection.
State agencies and make sure that New Yorkers were safe.
We're doing pretty good in the game so far, so that's always good.
People with more information about the earthquake and ongoing efforts. So we're joined today by Mayor Eric Adams, Chief Advisor to the Mayor Ingrid Lewis-Martin, Chief of Staff Camille Joseph Varlick, Emergency Management Commissioner Zach Iskel, Police Department Commissioner Edward Caban, and senior members of the NYPD leadership, FDNY Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh, Public Schools Chancellor David Banks, Department of Buildings Commissioner Jimmy Otto, Department of Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch, Department of Transportation Commissioner Yadanis Rodriguez, Department of Environmental Protection Commissioner Ray Agual, Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs Commissioner Manny Castro, Housing Preservation and Development Commissioner Adolfo Carrion, Mayor's Office of Community Affairs Commissioner Fred Kreisman, New York City Health and Hospital Senior Vice President and Chief Quality Officer Dr. Eric Way, NYCHA Executive VP of Operations.
So obviously a lot of people in that room, Molly. It's like a subway car. At rush hour, apparently, there's a subway car.
They've brought in the whole team, like we said, the NYPD, the FDNY, schools, sanitation, transportation, and there's the mayor at the microphone. Let's take a listen.
That needs to be answered. All of us felt in some way or another the earthquake that hit our city around 10:23 a.m. We felt the impact of this 4.7 magnitude earthquake. The epicenter was in Lebanon, New Jersey, about 50 miles from New York City. And as you know, this is a developing situation. You're always concerned about aftershocks after an earthquake. The New Yorkers should go about their normal day. First responders are working to make sure the city's safe. And one thing we do so well in our city is bring together all of the agencies that are involved and our partners and other entities. Everything from the MTA to the Department of Buildings, the parents who are concerned about their school children. Chancellor Banks will be here to report on that. But we say over and over again, the safest place for our students, we believe, will continue to be in school. At this point, we do not have any reports of major impacts to our infrastructure or injuries. But of course, we're still assessing the situation and we'll continue to update the public. We're in touch with the White House, the governor's office, and local elected officials. And I encourage New Yorkers to check on their loved ones to make sure that they are fine, not only from the infrastructure damage, but this could be a traumatic moment for individuals going through an earthquake. And if you feel an aftershock, drop to the floor, cover your head and neck, and take cover under a solid piece of furniture next to an interior wall or in a doorway. So I want to thank the emergency staff and first responders for their work to keep New Yorkers safe. Earthquakes don't happen every day in New York. So this can be extremely traumatic. The number of texts, calls, and inquiries that people sent out to not only our administration, but to family members checking on them, we know how this can impact you. But we're ready for the unexpected. This is New York City, and we respond accordingly. We will continue to update New Yorkers as we get more information. I would now turn it over to Commissioner Iskel.
Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to my colleagues for their quick and speedy response to this. I'm pleased to report that there are currently no major impacts or safety events related to this earthquake. We're asking all New Yorkers to call 311 to report damage or any issues that you're having. Also, if you have any need for disaster assistance due to damage or anything like that, please call 311. That is the best place to refer those needs. If you have a life safety issue, please use and call 911 immediately, but preserve 911 for those life safety events. The team acted immediately. We convened our emergency response teams and issued guidance to the public. The likelihood of aftershocks remain low, but we do remain vigilant, and we ask all New Yorkers to remain vigilant as well. We activated our protocols for this earthquake. We immediately started coordinating with all city, state, federal, and our utility partners. Public notifications were sent out both by Notify NYC and our wireless emergency alert system. You can hear some of the phone buzzings and delays from that have been issued. As soon as it happened, we convened here at New York City Emergency Management in order to be able to send out guidance. We activated, as soon as we convened here at NYSEM to send out our guidance for what happens during an earthquake, including on the possibility of aftershocks. We contacted our City Hall and agency commissioners, as well as all of our partners at the federal and state level. That also includes all of our utility partners, our transportation partners at the MTA, Port Authority, and the airports. While there is a low likelihood that there will be aftershocks, we always want to be on the safe side. So if you are outside during an aftershock, please move to an open area away from buildings, trees, and power lines. If you are driving, pull over to a safe location. We're asking people to check in on their relatives, on their loved ones, neighbors, especially the children and their individuals. I think that this is also an incredible time just to remind us all to make sure that we're prepared. So if you are a New Yorker, if you're visiting New York, we encourage you to sign up for Notify NYC. This is available in 14 languages, including American Sign Language, over 1 million subscribers. You can sign up by calling 311. You can call it by downloading the app or by going to nyc.gov/notify. We also encourage people to make sure that they have an emergency kit and to make sure that they know the guidance for earthquakes, which, as the mayor said, to drop, cover, and to get under furniture, sturdy furniture, or in a doorway to make sure that you are safe. Please also make sure that you're checking your utilities, that you know how to turn them on and off, especially if you are a property owner. With that said,
go haywire.
Chancellor Banks. I'll turn it over to Chancellor Banks for an update on the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. So the earthquake was felt across the entire city and across many of our schools across all 5 boroughs. In fact, I was at LaGuardia High School at an event this morning when the earthquake hit. I did not personally feel it, but many people in the room felt it. So first and foremost, what's most important to understand is we want to emphasize that we've received no reports of any injury to staff or students. And that's the most important thing, and safety is our top priority in ensuring that everyone is safe in our schools. Immediately following the earthquake, our teams, both within New York City Public Schools and across the city, immediately jumped into action. We've been in close and constant communication with City Hall, the Office of Emergency Management, School Construction Authority, and other agencies as well. So at this moment, there is no indication that any of our buildings were compromised. And our facility staff at the School Construction Authority are quickly and thoroughly inspecting buildings to ensure safety. And out of an abundance of caution, we've assembled all of our building response teams as well. So we've instructed all of our school principals to continue operations and dismissal as normal. We ask the school staff and families to remain calm and to model that for all of our students, all of our children. Parents do not need to pick up their child early as a result of today's earthquake. Additionally, all after-school programs will continue as planned. If conditions change, our schools will communicate directly with families. We also will post updates on our social media pages, which can be found at NYC Schools. I want to thank all of our school staff and our facility staff for keeping our students safe during times like these. Their professionalism in the face of an emergency is a role model for all of our students. Again, the top lines, all of our students across the school system are safe. All of our staff are safe. We have no reports of any structural damage to any of our school facilities, while many schools in fact felt some tremors from the earthquake. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next, we'll hear from Buildings Commissioner Jimmy Otto.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Let me say right at the outset that we at the Department of Buildings have not seen an influx of calls regarding building damage. But we want all New Yorkers to know that our team is ready. We are putting on additional construction and engineering professionals from this point on over the weekend. So if reports do come in, we will be ready to respond. Our construction enforcement unit is out doing inspections similar to what we do prior to big storms. There are 1.1 million buildings in the city, which means we need cooperation from construction professionals. We've messaged that to them, but let me take this opportunity again to remind all of our construction professionals, you need to go out and check on your buildings, even if those sites are closed, and determine that the sites are secure. And if you see any conditions that are troublesome, please reach out to the department. This is a time for that tried and true saying, if you see something, say something. So to New Yorkers, we at the Department of Buildings are concerned about some of the downstream possibilities, cracks that you might see that may materialize and manifest in a week or a month, or scaffolding, retaining walls. If you see something that is problematic, please call 311. This weekend, we will have an increase in our emergency response team. We've mobilized our borough operations and our special ops folks so that if our sister agency, the fire department, or any of our partners in government or the public report an increase in locations, we are at the ready to respond.
So there's some good information there. No major impacts, no injuries. We've been quoting that for some time. As the mayor said, quote, New Yorkers should continue with their day, says Eric Adams.
Yeah, a lot of parents will be relieved. They said the kids can stay in school and go to their after-school programs. I imagine that was a big concern as all this was unfolding today. You know, what do? Do you leave work? Is your kid going to be sent out of school? So that's something that can really wrangle your day, and it looks like things are going to stay nice and calm. They're checking out those school buildings. A little bit of a surety there, as well as buildings across the city. Cool number from the building commissioner talking about these 1.1 million buildings and how they've all going to be checked out, urging the folks whose job it is to get that done.
So that news conference continues. If there are headlines, we'll bring them to you. Jane Menard back with us now. Fox Weather. Jane, what do you have now?
Well, the report remains the same from the USGS, magnitude 4.8, near White House Station. Of course, it's about 8 miles northeast of Bridgewater, New Jersey, more populated area, about 10:23 in the morning. Now, the USGS also coming out just a few minutes ago with a 46% chance over the next 7 days of a magnitude 3 or greater aftershock. Now, where that is and when that happens, of course, is near impossible for us to determine, but it's something that we're really going to be honed in on at Fox Weather to make sure we can really keep you in touch with that information. Now, this is the strongest earthquake that has been felt in 139 years in and around the New York City metro. You have to go back to the 1880s, 1884 to be exact, whereas a magnitude 5.2 earthquake that struck the area. Preliminary strongest in 240 years for New Jersey. So safe to say, no one has ever felt this in their lifetime in and around this area. Of course, New Jersey, the most densely populated state in the country, and it jolted everybody about mid-morning. Now, this is a look at the seismometer in Pennsylvania, kind of gives you a look at the timeline, how they were able to detect the early stages. Now, this is quite literally milliseconds. The blue lines here is where you had the jolt from the earthquake itself, and you can see we don't have much in the way of any activity post that. So that is some good news, as things have been rather quiet in the hours after, but of course we know that that aftershock potential is there. Now, as far as the shake map goes, we've seen a light to moderate shaking around much of the area, Pennsylvania, through New Jersey, out onto Long Island, as far north as Connecticut and into Massachusetts. The worst of the shaking, of course, felt closer to the epicenter, say moderate to strong, where we are going to continue to follow in on the reports of checking on structures and any damage out in New Jersey in that area. What we do know right now is that Newark is in a ground stop until 12:30. They have gone to inspect the areas and have not reported any damage or issues, and so things are expected to operate as normal. Amtrak has also deployed their earthquake detection and really kind of inspecting the rails as we go throughout the day today. This is a real-time look at where we have our trains on the Northeast Corridor line, which of course is a very heavily traveled epicenter through the Northeast. And so we're going to be following along just to make sure that those inspections go smoothly. Delays, certainly a possibility along New Jersey Transit as that Amtrak operation is in order as well, because as you know, Amtrak takes precedent over New Jersey Transit operations in the state of New Jersey. But the information coming in real time, no major changes, and we're going to be monitoring those aftershock potential very closely.
Yeah, got it. Just one follow-up there. You said a magnitude 3, there's a 46% chance
Yes.
over the next week. That's higher than I expected, but if it's just a 3, I say just because this is 4.8. When you get a 3, do you necessarily feel it?
Well, so necessarily no. I mean, 3 and under is typically rather light and shouldn't cause as much of a spread of the shake and the panic that we've seen so far today. I mean, 4.8, that's more so on the moderate end of the scale.
Finally, there he is.
We're looking at about 2.9 miles in depth. And so because of that, and also too, Bill, which I think is really interesting, we spoke with a professor from San Diego State University earlier on Fox Weather. He talked about the landscape in this region. I mean, the East Coast, specifically in and around New York City, the bedrock is older, it's a little bit more brittle. And so a magnitude earthquake like this, 4.8, is certainly going to be felt more intensely than it would, say, on the West Coast.
Okay, Jane, good stuff. Thank you, and we'll be back to you momentarily. Thank you, Jane, from Fox Weather.
Yeah, well, we're getting some word that the president did speak with the New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy, about this morning's earthquake. The president saying, of course, that the administration has been in touch with state and local officials and will continue to provide assistance as well if needed. The White House, of course, continuing to monitor this situation as well as we're all looking at this. So it's good to know that our federal authorities and our local authorities all working together and thinking about this
I thought one thing that Governor Murphy did, it's been more than an hour, he sent out a tweet, and the last line of the tweet was, if you do not have an immediate emergency, do not call 911. You can imagine how many people had questions, like, in the moment as to what was happening in their house, in their home, in their neighborhood, in their place of work on this now Friday afternoon. John Vidali's back with us, Molly, professor of Earth and Sciences, University of Southern California. John, welcome back here. We spoke, but it's been 40 minutes, I think. And just the fact or the possibility of an aftershock is one thing we're curious about. But did you take anything away from these officials who spoke in New York City a short time ago?
No, they seem to be on top of it. And, the issue really is there's a possibility of an aftershock, but it's remote. So it's a good time, think about whether you're prepared. But, in all likelihood, there just might be a couple of events people in the immediate vicinity would feel. So it's not a very dire situation.
I thought it was interesting, a little bit tough to untangle, though, where Jane was talking about there being a 43% chance of a 3.8% earthquake, and yet there's a low likelihood of aftershocks. Regardless of what you call them, what is the likelihood that in the next week or so, this area will experience something that can be felt, so to say?
Yeah, well, 3 is about the threshold of feeling it. Even at 2.5, you can feel if you're right on top of it. So chances are people will feel a couple more. On the other hand, the threshold to make much damage is well over a 5. So even the main shock probably hasn't done much damage at all. So there will be aftershocks, but probably no damage from them.
And then what about the next couple of weeks and months?
Well, it dies off with time. We have a mathematical formula for it, but basically after a week, the danger is about 1/10 of what it is after a day, and so it'll disappear pretty quickly. There might be a few weeks out, probably not even once people feel, but after a week, people generally consider the aftershock to die down.
Gotcha. John, really good information there. When you think about what happened the other day in Taiwan, I don't know how deep your studies go literally, whether or not there is a cause and effect. And when people ask that question, what do you tell them?
Well, no, there's really effect because we have forces here just the size every day that are stronger than even much bigger earthquakes on the other side of the Pacific. So they're just too far apart and not big enough for one to affect the other.
The other question is, it's been 13 years for us here in the Northeast. All humor to the side, some of the folks in California might be saying, hey, get over it. And John, we will in time, but we're still trying to understand it. Which leads me to my last question at the moment, and that is, the mystery about something like this is that you don't know whether or not Mother Earth goes to hibernate for another 13 years or not. That we cannot say, correct?
That's exactly right. And this earthquake really doesn't affect much 10 miles away from where it happened. So there could be an earthquake tomorrow, over in Connecticut. So yeah, we're not going to get a warning with the current state of the science. But it is a kind of a test of the system. It shakes everything a little bit, and people kind of make sure they're ready.
A warning would be nice, Molly.
Test of the system. Good to get it ahead of time. We'll see. And maybe just a little wake-up call. Get your emergency kit together. Another reminder that things can happen here, even though perhaps not so often.
Yeah. John, you're terrific. Thank you for coming back. And
okay, my pleasure.
You bet. We'll be right back with more. Stick with Fox News live here from New York City to find out.
Hi, I'm William Devane. And these days we take a lot for granted. Used to be just having wood for the fire and a little food for your table was all you needed to feel secure. Not anymore. Now rising debt is chopping away at the value of our dollar, like this. And that troubles me, which is why I buy gold as often as I can. I buy my gold from Roslyn Capital because I trust them. Roslyn has the best customer service around. With all the money printed by shaky governments, protecting my purchasing power against the rising threat of inflation is more critical now than ever. Protect what you've worked hard for. Buy gold from Roslyn Capital.
Call now to get your free gold, silver, and IRA kits. For a limited time, Roslyn is offering up to $15,000 in free gold to qualifying new customers. Call 800-630-8900. That's 800-630-8900.
My husband's name was Jason Arno. He was a firefighter for the Buffalo Fire Department. He was our superhero. He loved being a girl dad. It was his favorite job in the world. He loved helping people, and he just really loved being a fireman.
We're here to recognize the sacrifice of Sarah Tiernan's husband, Jason Arno, who made the supreme sacrifice at a warehouse fire on Main Street here in Buffalo.
I'm a nurse, so I worked overnight, and luckily we caught each other in the morning, so I got to give him a kiss goodbye. And around 10, I got a knock on the door. It was a priest, and he had been in a fire that morning. We went to the scene. At that point, they had found him, and they wrapped him in the flag. And we drove to the hospital in the ambulance. That was that day. So I got a phone call one day from Frank Siller and gave me his sincere condolences and said that he was going to buy us a house when your whole world is turned upside down. And you feel like there's no hope for anything. To have the stress of worrying about paying a mortgage taken off your plate is really incredible.
Tunnel of Towers believes in supporting our fallen veterans and first responders as well as our mortally injured, and he believes that we should take the biggest burden away from them, which is paying off their mortgage.
I'm asking you to donate $11 a month so Tunnel to Towers can help other fallen first responder families like mine. Visit t2t.org or call 1-844-BRAVEST.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
You too can feel better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
The day you get your Clear Choice dental implants makes every day a let's dig in day, a chow down day, a take a big bite day, a perfectly delicious day, a love my new teeth day. Because your Clear Choice Day is the day everything is back on the menu. A Clear Choice Day changes every day. Schedule a free consultation.
Welcome back. We're continuing continuing to follow this earthquake, this 4.8 magnitude earthquake that hit near White House Station in New Jersey. But Alexis McAdams has been out here there in Times Square talking to folks that have had a pretty exciting trip to New York City, or adding a little a special thing to their journeys. Alexis, what are you hearing out there?
Hey, Molly, this is going to be a trip that most of the people I've talked to out here in Times Square are not going to forget in the Big Apple. Take a look around. It's business as usual here in Times Square in New York City. Just hours, right, after a 4.8 magnitude earthquake was confirmed in New Jersey. But, man, it was felt across the area, also here in New York City. So I want to take you over here, Molly.
Again, no chorus.
3 girls from Ohio who came to
Did another playthrough, and then there was no chorus.
This isn't what they expected. So, like
Shit.
you said, you were in Astoria. You started kind of feeling the shaking. What happened after that?
Yes, we were walking in one of the little suburb areas, and there was a big bunny, a big Easter bunny that was in the yard, and it was swinging super fast. I was like, what the heck, this is weird. Didn't really make sense, didn't connect to my brain, and then literally, like, we were walking a couple, I don't know, blocks away. I was getting text messages from my friends in Philly. They were getting messages from their parents, their friends, and then we saw a woman come out from her basement.
Save it.
You're okay if we felt the shakes. And she was freaking out.
I'll catch you guys next time. All right, peace.
That we just experienced an earthquake, and that's something I'll be able to say forever.
And you said that's not what you were maybe prepared for other things